And this is our weekly call where we come together to build more coherence with one another and to come into resonance and just really deepen into our relationship, our mutual work that we do in the world, and get to know one another more authentically in smaller groups and have a deeper conversation. So you're welcome to join us in the Zoom room. We do break out into small groups and we go off Facebook Live then. So come on in, go to Good of the Whole. Nope, go to connectionfielddigest.org and you'll get that Zoom information so you can come on into the Zoom room with us. And we're going to begin with John Brockett doing an attunement, bringing us into resonance. John.
Thank you, Julie, and thanks everyone for being here this morning. So we're just going to drop down in to our individual beings and our collective being. You can close your eyes or keep them open, whatever is comfortable for you. Simply taking a nice deep breath, filling the lungs, expanding the chest, opening the heart. And with the exhale, allowing the interference of mass consciousness, mental activity to dissolve for a moment. And trusting with every breath, on the wings of that breath rides the love and information of the universe coming into and through us for the good of the whole. Simply noticing the silence inside. And the freedom that offers us. And become aware of that brief moment at the end of the exhale before the next inhale. That space of nothingness and everything. Opening the heart with gratitude to be a member of this miraculous gift of life. And this wonderful opportunity to share and become one with this circle, and know that the gift of this love and experience that we have here reverberates throughout all of our families, our communities, our planet, and becomes a clean, direct reflection back to the source of all life itself. And with one more beautiful cleansing breath, come into the pure joy of the silence. And so be it.
Thank you, John. That was beautiful and necessary. I said at the top of the hour before people are getting on, I am so off. I am just off. And I don't know if anybody else is feeling perhaps this really frigid weather here. We've had 30 below temperatures, like real temperatures, not wind chills, a couple nights this week, and in the 20 below. It's just a peculiar moment on the planet with our weather systems clear across the whole planet right now, especially in the US and places getting snow that never have snow. It's just one of those moments. So thank you, John. That was beautiful. I want to just open this up briefly before we muse deeper. If there are any announcements from Shelley or Linda, anyone about the connection field, any important pieces that we need to bring forward before we do our small group work. So Shelley or Linda or anyone else.
I would like to welcome my friend Paula, who is here today for the first time. She's my laughing soul sister and medicine for my heart. So welcome, Paula. That's all I wanted to say. So, thank you for being here.
Welcome.
And I'll follow it up. I'll follow it up by welcoming my very good friend Errol Strider, who lives in California, is an amazing spiritual being that puts together spirit and humor, and in a very beautiful way. So welcome, Errol. Thank you.
Nice. Welcome, Errol. You'll get to share.
Welcome, everyone.
Go ahead, Shell.
Sorry, I just wanted to welcome everyone and to just something has shifted inside. For those of you who, most everyone here knows about the digest, which comes out weekly, the connection field, where you can discover some of the new offerings and those that are continuing beautiful offerings. If you're offering some art or music or poetry or wisdom for the digest, the due date now is Wednesday tonight at 8 p.m. So we're just trying to support an easeful flow, so it goes out on Friday mornings. And just to be aware that there's this really beautiful the Connection Waterfield is offering a new offering on Fridays from 1:30 to 2:30. The origin stories of river, where we're inviting people to go to their watershed, go to their elders and discover what is that origin of your watershed, of your river, and share the story, bring it forth on the Friday. So more on that in the digest, and that's all I want to add. Thank you.
Beautiful. Martin, do you need to add anything as well? Mr. Digest Keeper, beloved Digest Steward?
No, Shelley summed it up nicely. Today, the 8 helps us out a lot.
Perfect. Thank you, Martin. Okay, if there's any other announcements from anyone, we'll kind of come back around at the end and leave a few more minutes for you to talk about personal projects or personal needs toward the end of our time here. So today I heard clearly, Linda sent me a note. Linda listened to my show last week and really resonated with a quote from my guest, which was the origin of the quote came from Jennifer Huff. Be vigilant with your vibration. Was that it, Linda? Do you remember? Be vigilant. Yeah.
Yep.
With your vibration. And I was thinking about that here at Good of the Whole. We talk a lot about the home frequency. We talk a lot about our own personal vibration, but we talk a lot about resonance. And you hear anyone that's coming into the connection field is hearing about resonance and learning about resonance and practicing resonance as a pathway and a practice. And so there's a lot of opportunities to talk about resonance. And I saw this quote from Albert Einstein, and I forgot about it, where Einstein said, "I never teach my pupils. I only attempt to provide the conditions in which they can learn." I never teach my pupils. I only attempt to provide the conditions in which they can learn. And as a healer, we say that often as well. Perhaps you've heard many of us even say that healers don't heal. We create the conditions for the healing to come forward. And so I just wanted to really muse deeper with this, because as Good of the Whole and as this community practicing resonance, we're simply creating the conditions for our wholeness to come forward. And what does that really mean? Creating the conditions for our wholeness, creating the conditions for greater coherence between us, among us, within us. I'm going to say those again because I think it's important. Between us, among us, but also within us, creating the conditions for greater coherence. And why are these words important? As we're remembering wholeness on the planet, as we're moving into conscious evolution, the most critical aspect of our evolution at this time is remembering wholeness, remembering who we be, that literally we are a part of one planetary body, and there is no separation. There's no separation. We're interdependent, interconnected. And so resonance is one of those practices to create the conditions for healing, for learning, for wholeness, for coherence. And what I'd like to muse us into this topic about creating the conditions. I just want to bring back those two words from Einstein, though, because I think that this is important in our humility, in that we're not doing this, right? We are already whole. So we're creating the conditions for that remembering, for those conditions to come forward. But Einstein said, I only attempt. And then he used the word provide. So I attempt to provide the conditions. And I think that that's an important piece for us to really embody that understanding that we're attempting to provide the conditions, to create the conditions. But it's an attempt, and that there's a force much greater than all of us that can move freely when we come into that secondary role, that we're not doing it, but we're attempting to create the conditions for it to come forward. So the question or the topic I would like to drop in for all of us to muse into small groups with is, what else is there in providing, it's hard to use Einstein's word providing when I always say creating, in providing the conditions for our wholeness, in creating the conditions, in attempting to create the conditions, what else is there? And I know as I look at the screen, I can see maybe 2 or 3 that would say resonance is enough. That's all we need. But is there anything else for us to create the conditions for greater wholeness on our planet? And as we come into our wholeness, we know we're affecting the greater whole and creating the conditions for global wholeness, for oneness on the planet, for peace on the planet, for coherence on the planet. That as we attune to that vibrational frequency of wholeness, we're creating the conditions for more wholeness. So be vigilant. Is that the right word? Be vigilant with your vibration is really us standing in our wholeness, creating greater coherence, creating greater wholeness. So vigilant,
Yeah.
vigilant. Be vigilant with our vibration. I have no idea what word I'm saying, or I was saying, but vigilant, be vigilant, vigilant. That's what I was going to say. Okay. So I told you I'm off. I have been off all week. I've got weird stuff happening and I think it's just too cold. I need a sunny beach. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So with that, we're going to break you into groups of 3 or 4. And let's see. I think if we do 7 groups, we should be okay. I'm going to do that and I'll watch and move you around if you need be. And we'll take about 20 to 25 minutes and then we'll come back in. I encourage you all to kind of reset the resonance when you get there, even if you're just taking a breath, and muse together. And if you have our 2 new guests with you, make them very comfortable. And you know what, I'll make 6 groups so we have a little bit more. Welcome them and make them comfortable. I think they know exactly why they're here. They're going to be fine. So with that.
Are we going to go live?
Yes, we will go off Facebook Live when we go into groups. Yeah, thanks, Jill. So thank you for that reminder, Facebook Live. Thank you. If you want to join us in our groups, come on in. Again, it's connectionfielddigest.org. You'll get the Zoom link and the password, and we'd love to have you in our small groups with us. And it's not too late to join. We'll be watching so we can get you in one of those groups. Okay. Thank you for joining us, Facebook Live. And for all of you in the room, here we go. I'll see you in 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
And here she is. Hey, Julie. We were trying. Hi. We were just trying to rephrase your question. And this is how I heard it. What else is there for us as we are being vigilant to our vibration, that we can create conditions for wholeness on our planet?
I take this as the greatest gift in this moment. Be vigilant with your vibration, so it's like the permission is granted. I am tired, my love. There's lots of tears. I'm tired of talking about it. I don't know what else is there. It's just so much that is been pushed down and it has not been expressed. This morning, I was saying that I didn't know. I didn't know that I needed to be cared for. As an independent, free woman, is always, I have cut everybody off. And I was saying, I don't have to have Alzheimer or terminal disease to be cared for. I can receive now. And the universe has been generous and has created that condition for me. When I say I didn't know, it's really I didn't know how that condition looks like for me to be able to go to places that I've never been before, or kind of a step into that. It's like a different, totally different dimension. It comes with certain frequencies of people who are willing to go there. And then the musical aspect is like more in the poetry or playing or singing or making sounds or playing with my sitar. It is nothing like before. And I didn't know what I needed to go there, but then I found myself this morning there. And then you come and talk about it. So what I am is like the orchestration of the whole thing that how is unfolding. It's like, how would I know my wholeness? The only, you said something about the most critical. You said the most critical is the ability to feel. Because wholeness is a vibrational field and only can be felt. I didn't know about it. So it's like all that we have accumulated as knowledge and information is really is longing. This is me and it's not me. It's personal and it's not really mine. Is to create a condition that I feel safe enough and knowing I'm cared for, that I can go there and feel it. So it's like this gap between knowing it and healing it and feeling it is really the gap for the healing. That is what we call the condition. So thank you. Wow.
Thank you, Nahid. I watched a movie this week that I need to go back and find the movie. I don't even remember the title on Netflix. And the last sentence, not the one sentence that a daughter said to another woman was, her mom had passed, and this was a lover friend that was recent. And she said, I want to learn about my mom. And she said, I only knew my mom in black and white. And I want to know who she really is. And that's what I felt when you were saying that distance between the knowing and the feeling is, so I broke down into tears watching that movie and just felt the liberation.
Which movie?
What, Nahid? What movie?
Which movie?
I
What
don't
movie?
even remember the title. I have to go look it up. It was powerful at the end. It was powerful. And even the trailer doesn't describe it well. But what happened to me was this sense of liberation. And that's kind of what I'm feeling at this moment. Like, what are the conditions for our wholeness to come forward? It was like this liberation to be fully who I am and to break out of that black and white oppression of the mind, the black and white oppression of other people's expectations, the black and white oppression of society and rules and the systems. And that's what broke open to me. And that's what I felt when you were saying that distance between the knowing and the feeling is that liberation inside of me, like, I am still not who I am. How can that even be in 2021? How can I not be who I am fully in 2021? So I felt that. Thank you, Nahid. And I'm complete. And then what are the conditions then for that? What are the conditions for my wholeness? What are the conditions to create? What is that to create the conditions for that level of wholeness to come forward?
Permission to feel. Permission to feel. And something I have recognized, I can do it to some degree for myself. I need another one. You know what? You know what I told Ken this morning? I said, you are my guardian angel, and you are the pain in the ass. And he said, so what's the difference? Both would take me deep into what I need to dig in and feel myself, my wholeness. What is the difference?
Good morning, you guys. Nahid, I feel you. I've had a lot of emotions going through my vessel recently. Seems like there's a shift happening. And you guys know me to be straight up and pretty blunt, so I'll just go ahead and say that the resonance that I live in, sometimes when I come to good of the whole, is not the resonance that is happening. Okay, so I've learned or somehow was taught to live in a life without thought. So throughout my day, when I'm moving and I'm feeling and I'm doing what needs to be done, I'm able to do that without having any thoughts. So when I arrive to the community and I come in my heart resonance and I come with my vessel open, willing to give and to receive, unfortunately, I'm receiving some kind of bullying, telepathic bullying, I like to call it. And that's why I keep my camera off, because I hear less of it when my camera's off. So I believe that we have work to do as a community. And this work is to each be vigilant about the thoughts that we're having. And if we're not having thoughts that are completely tied to kindness and heart-centered way of being, that we check ourselves in that time. Because unfortunately, I have to hear all of it. So I'm beginning to be a little frustrated. I'm beginning to wonder if there's another network I need to go to, because there's work to be done in the heart resonance space. And there's certain people I feel safe with, and there's certain people I don't feel safe with. And I'm protective of my energy in that way. So I believe it is our duty as people speaking about the good of the whole, that we're also thinking with the good of the whole, and we're feeling with the good of the whole. It's sad, really, because all of these, the negative thoughts or what have you, are obviously coming from a place of pain. In my, well, not, I shouldn't say obviously, in my view, from my standpoint, are coming from a place of pain or envy or whatever word you want to attach to those yucky feelings that create yucky thoughts. It's a gift to live in this way, because and I've asked my spirit guides, I've asked other spiritual leaders, for their own discernment, and they say to trust my intuition, that my intuition is correct. And so that's what we need to do, is we need to trust ourselves and trust what we feel in the moment. And if it means having to leave to get away from that vibration, then it's leave. If it means stay and try to plow through it, I don't know. I don't really like to force myself to be with people that aren't truly loving, that aren't truly coming from a place of love. Linda, I remember when we met at the Baha'i temple, and I was, I don't know, trying to tape down some chords or like make some flags look good in the background. I was doing all the scut work. But you know what? I was happy to be there, just to be with these beings. I didn't need to be in front of the camera. I didn't need to be in charge. I didn't need to be having my foot in everything. I was happy just to be with these beings. It was an honor. And I think that we need to start treating this space like that. Not that I'm anything special, but that we're all special and we all deserve a seat at the table. If we've come here, it's not by accident. So thank you for letting me share.
So the question would come back to, how do we create the condition for each person's wholeness in that place? Not that we're doing it, but we're allowing, I guess that's the word, allowing each person to feel safe. And that's not up to any of us. It's up to each one of us individually. Like, I need to feel safe. Me. You can't make me feel safe. No one can make me feel safe except for me, because it's my perception of what's coming at me or what's happening. So for me, it always comes back to the wholeness. What, the initial question was, how can we create conditions for wholeness on the planet? it has to start with me. And if I am feeling whole, whatever that means, which is something that we really need to explore again too. What does it mean to feel whole? You know, who are we? I don't think there's ever a point in time where we can say, I'm whole, I'm complete, I know exactly who I am in every aspect of my life. I am vibrating at this level and I'm always going to be there because that's who I am. I just don't think that's the, you know, that is, maybe our soul can do that, but our soul comes into this meat suit to experience many, many different vibrations. And, you know, I just think that in understanding ourselves, we can understand another, because in that space, we really are one. We are a whole species together, as diverse and discordant as it can be, and as loving and incredibly brilliant as it can be. We're all of that. And maybe that block in feeling whole is something as simple as our judgment. We're judging something. We're judging ourselves to be like, I'm not enough, I don't have enough. Or we're judging someone else, oh, they believe that and they're, you know, that's not vibing with me. And it's a place of non-judgment and acceptance of ourselves. So Nahid, I just love what you said this morning about, I didn't know that I needed to feel love for myself, from others, just to feel love from the field itself, from the source itself. And I think once we allow that big space of vibration, I'm going to be vigilant to my vibration. That's the vibration of life. That's everything. That's, call it what you will, the universe, source, God, goddess. It's tuning into that vibration that I remember I'm whole. And that all the judgments that go on in my head, or the, you know, whatever goes on in my head, those thoughts I'm trying not to think, none of that is the truth. The truth is I am vibrating as the one divine vibration that's full of life. And that means all of it. So if I'm, go ahead, Nahi.
But that is the truth.
That's the truth.
That is the truth. That judgment, which is kind of, that is push, that feeling of discomfort and yucky, and is just taking your breath away, and you want it to go away. That is wholeness. That is the truth. That is where that is, you said we are never whole. That is true. But at the same time, we are always, in each moment, we are the whole. But if I allow all of it to be felt and experienced here, then it's hallelujah. Then I am that field. Do you understand what I'm trying to communicate? It's like, but I mean, I have called it ego, the mind. But yes, but now what we know is this is the field of awareness, a different expression of that. And that is what Ken said. So what is the difference between being pain in the ass or being the guardian angel? It's like, because that pain of the ass moved me. It's like, you know, this is the place in my wholeness that needs to be moved, to be, what we call it, trigger or whatever, just to move that energy. When that energy moves, I am the most alive. I've never been. Thank you for your presence here. because I don't know. That's what I said. I'm tired. I'm tired of, because knowing it and having the experience of the field is totally two different games. And the games we haven't played together. We are still talking about it. Just to have you, wow, thank you for the gift today. So how we do we do that? Feel all of it. Not that shouldn't use call it judgment, but that is the truth as well, my love. That's the truth of being in this body. Ah.
So, yeah, thank you, Nahid. I mean, I really do appreciate that. And 4 more minutes. I don't want to hog the time, but I really want to respond to that. Feeling all of it is going through that vision quest of life. You know, it's we need to be alone. We need to feel it. You have to feel to heal. And there is a moment of discernment that happens that says, now I know. It's like the soul comes in and says, I want to know what it feels like to be human. I want to know what it is to feel everything from bliss to rage. I want to know what it is to taste every spice, every sweetness, every savoriness. I want to know what it is to see colors, just, you know, not black and white. It's the soul that says, I want to experience life. And we go, okay. And we're doing it. And the soul goes, thank you. Now I know. And now that I know those extremes, you, Linda, get to choose that vibration that you want to live in. So if I know what fear is like, now I know I can choose to stay there. Or I can choose that love, that openness. I can choose to feel hurt and abandoned and judged. Or I can choose to feel, because my soul has experienced all of it and has felt all of it. And, you know, we can choose it. Look at the people in Calcutta who are starving, who don't have food or good shelter or anything of our privileged experience here. There are people who are not experiencing what I'm experiencing, but can I feel their pain? Yes, I can. And I know that I don't have to live in that condition in order to love it or help it or be there with it or know that it exists. You know, to say, oh, there's suffering people in the world, I better suffer some more because they're suffering. But I think to bring that wholeness is, if I am whole, if I am loving, if I'm holding that space, if I'm holding that possibility, that condition, then someone who is suffering can see that maybe there's another way. Because people are very happy in situations that I might judge as, oh, poor them. You know, they don't have a refrigerator full of food. They don't have a warm house when it's 20 below. They don't have the things that I have. And they're very happy. So it is an individual opportunity to be whole within ourselves so that we can be that presence on the planet that brings the conditions, that at least attempts to bring the conditions of wholeness for others to experience. And I don't know how else to put it in words. I don't know how to put it in words.
I just want to drop this in before we get, the timeout part of being leaved. But I wonder what a field of feeling would be. You know,
Feel the feeling.
Field of feeling, like the emotional body being resting in this field of emotion. I wonder how to create those conditions so that we can live in our emotional bodies more fully. I'm just thinking of where Nahid what Nahid brought in, and Heather, I wanted to respond to you too, but here we are. So we'll just hold this as I think it said we have 1 more minute and we're going to be kicked out of here.
When you said the field of feeling, it sounded like the field of healing.
But you know what?
Feeling is healing.
You said how it feels to be in that feeling. Nobody is there. There is all that there is. Nobody is there separated from that wholeness. It's all experiencing itself. No one is there. Can we go there? That is what in the mystical literature or tradition they talk about the death. You give everything to that which wants to experience itself. Aziz, my love. And love do that. My love does that.
I love to death. That's great.
For itself. It dies to itself to become the wholeness that it is. That's what I did 20 years ago. I died to love, for love to become the love itself. That was 20 years ago, exactly on Valentine's. I haven't read these things. It's been poking. And I've gone into that poking. And I'm in the immense poking right now. It's really want something else, which I don't know what it is.
You know, thank you, Nahid. And I think it goes back to Julie when you opened up today. You said it's just a little wonky. You just don't feel, you know, and a lot of us are in this energetic, huge shift. It's like we're in a vision quest. It's like, I've never been here before. Do I feel, what am I feeling? What's around me? What's happening on the planet? You know, what's happening with the climate and the pandemic and blah, 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 blah. Uh-oh, we have a minute. But I think we are on a vision quest and we've just kind of been forced into it. And we know that we're in it together. It's not like, okay, I'm going up to the mountain by myself.
I am yours. Take me. Love, I am yours. Take me.
Julie, your symptom that you were having in Chinese medicine comes from heart fire. So I was just wanting to reflect back to you, if you're not feeling well, to calm the fires in your heart today, if you can. And if you want to talk more, I'm here for you as a holistic practitioner. We can talk.
Put more fire in it. I would call it. I would put more fire there.
The heart.
More fire.
Thank you, Heather. Thank you. Yeah.
Back there. Thank you, everyone. And it slows the glaciers. That's one of the many things that go on in that book. And that's happening. You know, people are experimenting with this stuff now. So one of many, many things. Takes a whole bunch of solutions to get there.
It's nice you mentioned that it's finally to see a book that's positive.
Right.
About solutions rather than just complaining about the problems.
Right. No, and it shows you the problems. You see the problems happen. The book starts off with a major, major kind of catastrophe that will happen if we don't do anything to stop it. Yeah.
What book are you talking about?
The Ministry for the Future, it's called, by Kim Stanley Robinson, who's written some amazing books over the years.
Ministry of the Future. Okay.
Yeah, Barack Obama recommended it as the best book he'd read in 2020, and highly recommends everyone read it. So my husband read it, and then I've read it, and it's amazing. It really gives you hope. I mean, in these days, it's important to start to see, how do we do this? You know, how are we gonna ever, with the splits and the divisiveness and the people that are resisting and the powers that be and the structures and systems. And it's all about the changing eventually over. It takes them 20 years in this book, and there's still much more to do, but the systems and the structures shift. There are tipping points, and
It's the central banks that end up getting involved. It's just fascinating with carbon coins. They go to carbon coins. And then it's just so interesting how it unfolds. And you can see, oh my God, you know, and throughout the book, they're all like, they don't know if it's going to work. They just have to, like we do, you have to keep doing what's coming forth to do these positive things. Keep trying, keep shifting consciousness. And many, many, many ways, all of these many, many, many groups and small islands of coherence like this one are doing that. And then it starts to happen in bigger ways. And they get to a point where they see the carbon index dropping. And it's just very positive. Even though there's a lot of pain and suffering along the way, which we're in now on the planet.
I want to say one word before I need to go. The Ministry of the Future is here now and is sitting in the center of our chest. Nobody knows what the future holds. It is here already, and it needs to be felt and lived. That's how the future would occur. That's all. There is no more. It's not in the books. Nobody can tell us. No one can tell us because nobody has lived it. It's our individuality that has to go through the experiences. Are we willing to go there or not? I mean, after all the talks that we have been blah, 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 blah. I mean, thank you for bringing me here in my journey.
Thank you, Nahid, and thank you, Sharon. And now we're all back in this room. Let's just open and share from that place. Nahid has brought a lot of passion. I was in her small group, and so I encourage everyone to pull those threads forward, share a little bit from your small groups, from your experience, and even just hearing Sharon that with the Ministry of the Future is creating the conditions for our wholeness, creating the conditions. What are those conditions? And Nahid's talking about this condition, creating this condition, bringing us forward. So we'll just open this field and you can unmute and please share whatever is moving.
I want to add one thing just about this book again. It's called The Ministry for the Future. And the premise is one of the things that's happening in there is that they are giving legal rights to the people to come, as well as to animals and trees and ecosystems, but they're giving legal rights to the people of the future so that we are taking care of things for them. We're doing things for the future. So it's not of the future, but for the future. Yeah, and it is coming from the heart. So it's good.
Thanks, Sharon.
So I'll pop in here. It was such a brilliant small group we had. It was a classic reflection of resonance. And when we said, well, what provides the conditions for resonance, we had brilliant individual gifts and talents brought forth in expression of resonance itself, even when not even then. Rose sang a song, Errol read a poem, Paula brought in her gratitude, Connie read a poem, each one being a beautiful individual expression of the resonant field that brought us into and out of, paradoxically enough, the individuality and separation into the wholeness through their heart space of their own gifts and talents that they brought forth for the whole. And we just had a little love fest for a few minutes. It was just wonderful. So it's great.
Okay.
Our group shared.
Hi. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I would like to just quickly share an experience that I had that was very profound in terms of creating resonance. I had the opportunity to do programs in the Boulder County Jail. John's familiar with the Boulder County Jail. I think he spent quite a bit of time there for his lewd behavior, but that's another story entirely. Anyway, and what I found, there would be like 50 to 75 inmates in the room with me. And what seemed to have the most effectiveness, the first time I did it, by the way, I planned it. And after that, I never planned it again, because that was clearly that didn't work. But what did work, and I'd be interested in your all's experience of something perhaps like this, was just to hold up a mirror to where people were in their attitudes and their consciousness and their belief system, and act it out for them. And holding up that mirror allowed the forgiveness, self-forgiveness, if you will. And as a result of that, and how I held up the mirror was through doing body acting mime, by the way. But it really did facilitate a group of people in that situation actually coming into coherence. It was really profound. And I think it goes back to the idea that everyone wants to be seen and understood and recognized, to be met. Like Martin Buber says, all real living is meeting. And in that meeting and that being recognized, there is that opportunity to release the self-judgment that so often gets in the way of coherence, and in this case, resonance and community. Here. Oh, do I shut off my mute?
Good afternoon, everybody. Our group explored the unseen realms. We talked about the intersection and interrelationship with spirit and commonality rather than the expert perspective. Finding the commonality within spirit, finding what the language is that speaks to that energy, and the aspect of lending our rational mind around having an understanding about the good is coming, and expanding into that place and being passionate, and what it would feel like to live from that place more fully. Being the one that goes into the crack and allows oneself to let go of the shackle of the past and feel the wings coming out, bringing forward those relationships with the ineffable. Find within our group just having the resonance of not being crazy within this deep connection with these unseen worlds, and how do we get together and make it more available? Blessed be.
This season, I was in a very small room with Julie down and David, and Julie was for a walk and had to leave. And David was kind of very intimate. He told me really
Susan, you're really so broken. We can't hear you really.
I don't even compare.
Can't hear you, dear.
Sorry, Susan, your internet is not working for you right now. So I'm going to take your talking feather and just make a comment about our group. And are we willing to feel as this human experience, because we know that we're all divine? And are we willing to feel everything that there is to feel? Are we willing to open our hearts to know that everything is part of this oneness, this wholeness, and that when nothing is separate, that means there are no emotions that are separate from us, and we're constantly moving through them. And are we ever really whole? There's always a moment, there's always flux and change. And there's a certainly an aliveness and a thrill to know that we are humaning. We're humaning. And it's something that came up at the Good of the Whole retreat. And I love that phrase, because we know that we're spirit beings having human experiences. And the conditions for the wholeness mean that for me, I have to know myself. Know thyself. I have to know my emotional body, my feeling field, my thought field. And when I know these things about me, then I know they're in everyone, because I'm not special, I'm not separate. I'm just acknowledging what I know and what I can feel and what I do. And so that puts me in a condition of loving. If I can love myself, that's number one, then I know that will spill over, and I can love another, I can love all things. I think it starts in the heart. It starts with us. And if we have those conditions for our lives, then we're going to be whole. We will understand as much as we can in our human condition what wholeness really is. So, work in progress. Thanks.
Also in our group, Grace was there. She had to leave right now, so I'm going to just mention that she talked about a book that she's writing on the pillars of love. I'm not sure what the book title is called, but there were 4 pillars that she spoke of to answer this question really as well. And one was community, one was resonance, one was unconditional love, and the 4th one was safety. I think I got them right. And so we talked about how safety and feeling secure is important, as well as community, so that you're just not resonating, you know, that the differences do come in and can be, create that coherence, that resonance together. So Don also had some great things to share. I'll let him pick up if he wants to say anything else about those.
I just said 1 or 2 things that learning is with and through other people. Most help, or all the help, is self-help. We have to do something ourselves, but it's with and through other people. So, I think it was Sharon mentioned, was it her grandson, Sharon, that was going to school where the grandson is learning from other people. He's learning to communicate with people. He's learning to poop in a toilet instead of digging a hole. But we learn with and through other people, and we create that environment here, actually, in a safe environment. And that's one of the critical things. The outside world is not a very safe place to share your ideas. If you share your idea and it doesn't agree with other people, you have a chance of getting your head cut off, or you having a chance of being excluded. Or if you try to get in the middle of the aisle between the red and blue, you get cannibalized by both sides. So what we've been doing here, I think, is a very critical issue of learning, where we can create an environment where we can share our ideas and have our differences where we can still love one another and be in a safe place. And that was one of the points that I think that Grace was mentioning and Sharon mentioned too, the importance of safety. Thank you.
Well, just presence that our group spoke of that safety too. We talked about the feelings and we trusting our intuition and being in that heart space, but there was a big conversation about the safety and how even perhaps this space isn't always safe for some. I just want to share, just dropping in to this idea of creating the conditions for wholeness. As I saw this movie and I can't remember the name of it, but at the end, the daughter whose mother had passed had said to a friend, "Can I talk to you? I only knew my mother in black and white. And I want to understand who she really was." And like that broke me open of thinking how much I even live in my black and white, how my fullest expression hasn't come forward for so many in my life. And what is that safety that we can live in full color, that we can live all out from the heart space and not in that head space of how we're expected to be, or what are those norms, those social norms and relational expectations of who we be and the boxes that we live in. So thanks for bringing in that safety piece. Is what does create safety, which is different for all of us. I imagine there's different nuances to that safety. So thank you. Any last comments from the collective before we move into announcements and then just gently transition into the Resonance Lounge to continue this conversation? Any last comments from your groups?
I want to share something, and I think that safety and inclusivity is vital for a healthy organism and a healthy organization and community. And all of that got shared. And I just felt a beaming light for the connection field because it holds that space of growing into that, understanding what that feels like, and how that, Dawn was remarking at how that what emerged here, from the collective was a space that is more and more feeling safer for more and more people to come. But the thing that sort of hit me at the very end was humor. And I love, Errol, what you were saying, and yeah, I just feel like, I grew up in a world that was incredibly serious. And the world is a very serious place. We know that there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of things that are very challenging. But how do we hold our humor? How do we, angels fly because they have wings. Like, how do we do that as a community with each other? And I think that's a piece that's essential for our wholeness is, to, I don't know, I guess I was telling them that I woke up this morning, there had been sleet and storm, and Julie's been describing Nebraska and freezing cold. And, a lot of us have been experiencing that. But when I woke up this morning, it was like this crystalline garden of Swarovski crystals hanging off of every single tree. And that sense of magic, that sense of lightness of being, I think, and I don't know, we obviously can't make each other be that and feel that. And we don't want to avoid all, or dismiss or disregard the deepest feelings of suffering and pain that people are experiencing. But as a community and with each other, I feel like something cracks open when there's that sense of levity. So I just bring that in as an exploration. I'm exploring it and how that might be one of the conditions, how do we do that as a community and how do we do that with each other? So.
To follow that quickly, I would like to say that Bridget and Martin and Imani and I explored that Bridget and I both had our Valentine presence with us today. And so we got into our clown chakra.
I love it. The clown chakra. Thank you for that. I have to say, I was painting a couple of weeks ago in the connection field in the residence lounge, and I had made a comment. John was there. I don't remember. I think a few others of you were there, but I had used this red acrylic paint that literally was bleeding. And even when you would anyway, it was this odd red paint and it kept bleeding through things and mixing, like becoming live paint, not just bleeding through, but like mixing with all the other colors. And someone told me to embrace my pink. And I just want to announce that I did embrace my pink. And this series of 5 paintings has pink in it, but it's embracing the clown chakra. And what Shelley's saying is that those 5 canvases became so playful and so fun and whimsical and playful. And they embraced my pink, and there's pink in them. And so thank you. The Resonance Lounge helped me get to my clown chakra that day. And I played in the pink. And I it's like one of my favorite series now. These 5 paintings are just reminding me of that childlike playfulness and my clown chakra. I love that. Thank you guys for that. So any announcements?
I think Errol wanted to share something. He was jumping in at the same time.
Oh,
Did you?
I would like to offer some point to do a humor workshop and show you all some really great little tools for helping people laugh at themselves. And I have a little philosophy that when you can laugh at yourself, you're too slippery for your ego to get a hold of you. So you might consider that. And with that being said, when the COVID has passed, I would invite the whole community to come out to where I live in a clothing optional resort. And believe me, getting naked with each other is an opportunity to confront and laugh. Boy, whoa, there's a lot to laugh at underneath all those clothes. So anyway, that's something that you might consider. Anyway, thank you.
I just have to laugh to that because that made my nipples cold just thinking about it with the way the weather is. Can you see us all like naked at at 30 below, we'd freeze solid.
TMI, Susan, TMI.
Oh, come on, lighten up.
Actually, I was going to bring in that for those of you that have been following the revolutionary agreements, which we've been putting out each week in the connection field, if you scroll all the way down, you'll get to the revolutionary agreements. The last one of those is lighten up. So that'll be coming in a few weeks. We'll be talking about lighten up, but here it is.
And
Errol, I'd love to go to your humor workshop. And just a comment, animals don't have a sense of humor. Don't have a sense of humor. They don't laugh. And our ancestors, interestingly, did not laugh. Laugh is something that's a fairly recent innovation among humans. And in order to learn to laugh, one of the ways you start is learning to love yourself with the abundance. When you love yourself, you're no longer so sensitive about other people. And that's why it's so important. It starts, I think, with when you love yourself, you don't care so much if things are not perfect or whatever.
thank you all. I'm loving this. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you. And thank you, Sharon and Linda, for putting the revolutionary agreements in the digest. I hope you continue and continue to roll through them and do another #1. And yeah. Any announcements for the good of the whole? Anyone needing some mutual aid or assistance from your community or support? Any projects? Anything going on that you want everyone to hear about?
I am looking for someone to assist me in a project that has to do with theater, and I'm developing a program where people are acting out through theater and drama and humor especially. And if anybody knows someone who's looking for a service opportunity and is good at project management, boy, I could sure use some help. I've got all these actors who are responding to my call, and working with them is just a delight. And it's an opportunity for those who are participating to deepen more fully into their own authenticity, and especially in community as a cast. But I need someone who might want to get involved in the project with me. There you go.
Thanks, Errol. Anything?
Is clothing optional? Errol? Is clothing optional?
No, it's clothing wearing.
Okay, just to be clear.
It's not an option. This project, you sort of need to wear clothes. Anyway.
So I'll just put on top of that, be aware if there's someone out there that is an organized type. We're looking for someone to do some administrative support for good of the whole, 10 hours a week. And so I have a few people that have made contact. If you know someone, send them our way. We'd sure appreciate that. Administrative assistant type of person. So with that, I'm just going to gently transition this over. Shelley, if you want to make John host, we will kind of muse on into the Resonance Lounge and reset the resonance and continue the conversation. Thank you all for being a part of our community coherence call this morning. And don't go away. There's more good stuff yet to come here. So John, you're it. Thank you all.
We're all it, but thank you, Julie. And this has been an amazing hour, and we will continue because the field does not go away. And so please, if you can continue on with us. And I know some of you have more wisdom coming through from this resonance we share together. Let's just take a moment and drop back into that space, being so grateful for this opportunity to come together with ourselves, come together with each other, and to have this direct experience of the love that is the infinite field that is ours, the gift to us in this experiment as we are humaning and bringing fully into a deep experience the mystery that we cannot name. And breathe that in just for a moment. And the freedom that comes with something that cannot be named, but can be directly experienced and shared. For a moment, noticing that the mind wants to put labels